Today, we're diving into the pretty incredible story of a company called IREN. Now, they started out securing the Bitcoin network, but now they're aiming to be a major player in the whole AI revolution. So how on earth did they do it? Well, their secret sauce involves owning everything from the ground up and plugging into massive amounts of renewable energy. Let's get into it.
But first, before we dive in, just a quick heads up. All the information here is for educational purposes only. It is definitely not financial advice. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get back to IREN's fascinating journey.
I mean, it's a great question, isn't it? On the surface, Bitcoin mining and AI data centers, they seem like they're from completely different worlds. But what's so cool about IREN's story is that it's a perfect example of how you can take the expertise from one industry and use it to build an absolute empire in another. Okay, so let's rewind the clock. We're starting back in 2019. The company, which was then known as IREN Energy, kicked off its operations with a really clear mission: to do institutional-grade Bitcoin mining, and to do it powered entirely by 100% renewable energy up in Canada.
Yeah, this slide really shows you the roller coaster they were on in those early years. By the middle of 2022, they had a ton of power capacity, but the crypto market was just brutal, and they took a massive financial hit, losing over $400 million. But here's the thing that's so impressive. They didn't just pack it in. No, they pushed forward. And by the end of 2023, their mining power, their hash rate, had absolutely skyrocketed to 5.6 exahashes. And to put that into perspective, that's like having millions of high-end computers all working at once. And then 2024 arrived. This was the year everything changed. The company officially rebranded to IREN, and look, this was so much more than just a new name. It was a clear signal of a much bigger vision, moving beyond just Bitcoin and into the absolutely explosive world of AI.
And this right here illustrates that transformation perfectly. It wasn't about a new logo. It was a complete, fundamental pivot in their strategy. They went from a company that was laser-focused on one thing, Bitcoin mining, to becoming a foundational infrastructure provider for the entire AI ecosystem. But here's the really brilliant part of their strategy. They didn't just abandon their Bitcoin business. They actually doubled down on it. While they were mapping out their big move into AI, they were also massively ramping up their mining operations. And this wasn't just about making money. It was about building up a war chest and really perfecting the skills they were going to need for their next big adventure.
And that next big move was this. By the end of 2024, their AI cloud business was officially up and running, powered by almost 1,900 of NVIDIA's absolute top-of-the-line H100 and H200 GPUs. I mean, this wasn't just some idea on a whiteboard anymore. It was real, and it was generating an estimated $32 million in annualized revenue right out of the gate.
And the results? They were immediate, and they were impressive. For the quarter ending in September 2025, IREN posted a record $240.3 million in total revenue. And with that came a very healthy adjusted EBITDA of $91.7 million. The strategy wasn't just working, it was paying off big time. And hey, if you're enjoying this deep dive into how companies are navigating this whole AI revolution, do me a huge favor and just hit that like and subscribe button. It really helps me create more content just like this, and it doesn't cost you a thing. Thanks so much for the support. So you might be wondering, how did they pull this off? And maybe more importantly, how can they keep it going? Well, the answer lies in their competitive advantage, or what investors like to call a moat, basically a set of defenses that protects a company from all its competitors. IREN's moat is built on three really powerful pillars. First, they own and control their entire infrastructure from start to finish. Second, they've got access to huge amounts of low-cost renewable energy. And third, they have a massive portfolio of land and power just waiting for future development. Let's break those down. Vertical integration is really the name of the game for them. Think of it like a baker who doesn't just bake the bread, but also grows the wheat and mills the flour. IREN isn't just renting out space in someone else's data center. They're buying the land, they're designing the power grid, and they're building the facilities themselves, from scratch. This gives them total control.
In that control, it leads to some pretty incredible advantages. They can keep their costs down and their margins high. But even more importantly, they can future-proof their buildings. Their data centers are already designed to handle the next generation of super power-hungry GPUs, like NVIDIA's Blackwell, which need advanced direct-to-chip liquid cooling. And on top of all of that, their power costs can be as jaw-droppingly low as 2.9 cents per kilowatt hour. That is a massive edge.
So all of this brings us to their future. With this powerful moat in place, IREN is now totally focused on using its massive energy portfolio to cash in on the next wave of demand from the AI boom. And, well, the scale of their ambition is just staggering.
Just take a look at this chart. Right now, today, they operate about 810 megawatts of capacity. But what they have secured and ready to be developed is nearly 3,000 megawatts. That's almost 3 gigawatts of grid-connected power. This right here is the pipeline that's going to fuel their growth for years and years to come.
So what do they plan to do with all that power? Well, their first huge move is to build out a fleet of 140,000 of the most powerful GPUs on the planet by 2026. And just to give you a sense of the scale here, that is enough computing power to train multiple large language models like ChatGPT all at the same time.
And the financial implications of that, they're just as massive. That fleet of 140,000 GPUs is projected to generate about $3.4 billion in annualized recurring revenue. That's the kind of power you get when you combine best-in-class hardware with a low-cost, vertically integrated infrastructure.
And you know, here's the truly astounding part. That massive GPU plan that we just talked about, the one that could bring in $3.4 billion a year, it's only going to use a tiny fraction, just 16% of their available power. That leaves this huge runway for even more growth way into the future. So, as we start to wrap this up, it's pretty clear this is a bold, capital-intensive expansion, but it's also a highly calculated one. The AI strategy has already proven to be incredibly profitable, with projected returns on their investment between 35% and 50%. And that's even if you assume the GPUs are worth zero at the end of their contracts. Ultimately, it really all comes down to this one thing. The plan is brilliant, the assets are in place, but the key to IREN's entire future lies in execution. Their ability to actually build out their massive energy sites in Texas to meet the absolutely insatiable demand for AI compute, that's what will determine their success.
Which brings us to our final question. With the AI boom showing absolutely no signs of slowing down and with a 3-gigawatt power pipeline at their disposal, could we be witnessing the birth of a new giant in technology infrastructure? It's a fascinating story and one we'll all be watching unfold. Thanks for joining us on this explainer.